As we head into 2026, a lot of people in Greenville are asking the same questions. For example, what's pricing going to do? What's inventory look like? What's the interest rate? And also, what's the overall market in general going to look like? So here's a snapshot and kind of an overview of what 2026 is going to look like in real estate. Now, the first thing you guys need to understand is the market is becoming more balanced. And after several years of very intense competition and very, very small inventory to choose from for any buyer, whether you're local or moving from out of state into the area, it was very hard to find a house that you liked, nonetheless even win the bid. So now that we have 44% more inventory on the market this time this year as opposed to this time last year in 26, buyers simply just have more options to choose from, which means that we're not having to rush to the table and make an offer and make a knee-jerk reaction on a house that might not fit all of that family's needs. So now you have a little bit more inventory again to choose from. Instead of maybe 4 to 7 houses in any given zip code, now we've got sometimes 15 or 20 to choose from, and you don't have to make that offer within 5 hours. It's also helpful to know that we have over 6,500 houses on the market right now, and this increase has pushed the absorption rate to what would really feel like an even market. Another question that buyers have is, what does a balanced market actually mean, and what does that look like? And right now, it's helpful to know that we're sitting around 4.6 to 4.7 months of inventory. Statistically, a 6-month inventory block is going to be a balanced market. For every one buyer, there's one seller. Right now, we're still below that, but we are climbing, and we have continued to climb through 2025 the entire time. So it didn't really stall out, it just slowly ticked up, if that makes sense. So right now, statistically, we are still a seller's market. However, buyers don't have to rush again to the table to make an offer. And we're seeing offers that are really lower than list price. People are also getting the ability to have the opportunity to sell their house first. There's much more flexibility on the contract when negotiating now, so sellers have the ability to write in what's called a contingency contract, where they get to sell their house first before they get into their new house. People are also not having to waive inspections or appraisals, and usually that closing is going to last between 30 and 45 days from contract to actually closing. And again, if it's contingent on the sale of your house, we're able to bump that out even further. Now, the second question people are finding most important is when housing prices are going to fall, or if they're going to fall. Now, what's very helpful to understand is they are not falling in Greenville. Matter of fact, the national number is that we're projected to increase about 1% overall again nationally. It's helpful to understand in 2025, we appreciated 3.8%, which is way more moderate than what we found in 2020 through 2023, where we appreciated 20% each individual year. It's also important for you guys to understand that the average price in Greenville right now is $399. And it's also important for me to address the question directly. Do I feel that the housing prices will fall? What I'm going to do is connect the dots and look at 2008, 9, and 10, for example, and what did Greenville do? Greenville did not go into the red like Charlotte and Atlanta and a lot of other places nationally that went into the red as far as value is concerned. Same thing here. Greenville's going to appreciate, just not at the rate that we saw the previous years. And the reason for that, I believe, is our very heavily insulated economy. We've got GE, BMW, Michelin, and countless others, and all the ancillary businesses that support those. So no, I don't see that Greenville's prices will drop in 26. Now let's talk about days on market. What that means is I list a house today, and how long are we going to project that it's potentially going to get an offer on the house? Right now we're sitting at 52 days, and it's pretty close across the board, whether you're $250,000 or $1 million house. It's kind of fluctuating about 10 days on either side of that number. But also it's helpful to understand too, before 2020, the average days on market was somewhere around 90 days. So for the last 5 years, I realized that we had to run out and make an offer real quick within 5 hours, and that house probably sold within just a couple of days, if not hours. Now we're going back to the market that I felt in 2016, 17, and 18. Now let's talk interest rate and affordability. First off, let's talk about mortgage interest rates. They're expected to really stay elevated in retrospect to 2020 through 23. Now, historically, 6 to 6.3% is still going to be below the historical average. It feels like a lot more simply because the housing prices have not slowed down or gone into the negative like a lot of people would hope that they probably do. Now, boots on the ground, I'm going to give you a cheat code. A lot of my sellers are going into new construction homes. Not only do you have less maintenance with that new home, you have different warranties that a resale person might not offer at all or still have on their house because it's older, but also that seller, that builder is going to have you tied to their lender and their closing attorney, and in turn, they're going to buy down what's called the paper, and the paper is really your interest rate. Sometimes you're getting a 1 to 2% decrease in your interest rate, which is of course going to translate to a much lower monthly payment, and that's why people are headed into new construction homes in 2026. Now let's shift and talk about what does this mean for buyers and sellers. First off, buyers, you have more inventory to choose from, which we've been saying throughout this video, which means you have less opportunities to get yourself into a multiple offer situation, especially outside the entry-level pricing. And with moderate pricing growth and stable rates, it's a very good time for you to purchase. And I'm going to give you another cheat code here, because if you wait too long as a buyer and you're trying to buy a resale or a new construction house, the amount of buyers that are sitting on the sidelines right now is going to literally put you back into that multiple offer situation. So it's really just a decision whether you're going to buy someone else's equity now, or you're going to wait until it grows, get into that multiple offer situation. And of course, when the interest rates do dip, those buyers are going to get back into the pool, which is going to drive the prices up. Now let's talk to the sellers. You are still benefiting from a very strong, stable market here in Greenville. The difference is that you're going to have to show up to the game and not just put one bag of mulch down in your front yard. You're going to have to do those deferred maintenance items. If the house needs to be pressure washed, the carpets need to be cleaned or replaced, you're going to want to be the prettiest girl on the block to be asked to the dance first, is what I tell all my sellers. So go ahead and have that first discovery meeting with that agent. And that's why it's so important in 26 to meet with an agent, and multiple, just to see who you get along with the most, but also who's most knowledgeable about their local market, and not being afraid to tell you exactly what needs to be done based off of your goal and prescribing the solution that is going to get you to that finish line. Ultimately, what I want to leave the sellers with is that price and presentation are ultimately what are going to be the most important things for you to get that contract first before all the competition that now exists in our market. So my final thoughts here are, going into 2026, of course, I've got to look back at 2025, and it was our strongest year to date. And going into 26, a lot of people are calling us because they want to make a move, but they don't know all the data. And I want to assure you that Greenville's market is still extremely stable because of all the reasons that we talked about in this video. So if you are intending to make a move in 26, or know someone that does, and they want a knowledgeable local agent that's been doing it for quite some time, then feel free to reach out to us. And remember, with DeLisle Properties, luxury always comes standard.